Take everything you know about baseball, crumple it up, and throw it in the garbage. The Cleveland Guardians come back to first place. It's complete, and they did it the only way they know how. Guards ball, baby.
You are Locked On Guardians, your daily podcast on the Cleveland Guardians. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, Guardians fans? How are you feeling this morning? Welcome on in to another episode of Locked On Guardians, but not just another episode. It is the only daily podcast on your first place Cleveland Guardians, covering the Guardians from the majors to the minors, the draft, and every day in everything in between, every day on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team, your Cleveland Guardians, your first place Cleveland Guardians every single day. I'm Justin Lada. Been here with you for 3 years now, and Jeff Ellis, and also have spent 18 years covering the Guardians minor league system. And I've never seen anything like this season.
Nor have I. I am Jeff Ellis. This is the Rally Dinosaur, 20-6 since we introduced him. So he's going to hang out the whole show today. No matter how tired my arm gets holding him, he's going to stay right here. Somewhere the Rally Cat is as well. I know other people are attributing the cat. Hey, whatever works, right? That's just baseball's a superstitious game. We're going to lean in. As you mentioned, I am Jeff Ellis. I've been here since the start of the Locked On Network. Before that, I was a national writer at Scout 24/7, focused on prospects in the draft. I want to thank you for making today's episode your first listen today and every day, wherever it is you get podcasts. And after that game last night, if we're not your first listen, what's wrong with you? I'm kidding. And I want to shout out and thank all of our everyday. I mean, come on. Like, I'm not the person who listens to sports podcasts. And if I didn't have this podcast, like tomorrow would be the day I'd be downloading it, just because like I would be so juiced about that type of win and taking over first. Like that's when I go and find extra material. That's just some behind the curtain. But I want to give a big shout out to all of our everydayers out there. We appreciate and enjoy all of you. The support's been fantastic, for the team at the game and for us with the podcast. Shout out to Blah Ha Ha, who had a very nice comment about how we're part of their daily routine. So thank you.
Appreciate that. Yeah, on today's show, we got lots to cover. Of course, we have to get into our conversation about Stephen Vogt. Now that the Guardians are back in first place, is he a lock for manager of the year in the American League? Again, we'll talk about that. I want to talk about a little about this game and the Guardians trying to replicate the movie version of Moneyball. Not just Guards Ball, but a little bit of Moneyball. But of course, we'll start off talking about the run the Guardians have been on to get back to first place. Before we jump into all that, of course, today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONMLB to get $20 off your first purchase. If you don't believe at this point, I don't know if you believe in anything. Like, this is just destiny at this point. It is. Like, the Guardians have come all the way back, and they had to come all the way back at the same time as the Tigers. I know a lot of people saying, well, Tigers have choked it away. They have. But for those two things to converge at the same time, the Guardians
both can be true.
Yes, to take off on the path they've taken off on, and for the Tigers to do the nosedive that they've done at the exact same time. I mean, that's as likely as you winning the lottery. That's as likely as you being born, truthfully. So if you're, I mean, statistically, the odds of you being alive in general and right now are pretty amazing. So if you have,
I literally had that talk with my daughter today. Like that was like, because a whole other thing. But I was like, everyone's kind of a minor miracle. We were talking about that.
That's what I was going to say. It's a minor miracle. All of us are sitting here talking Guardians baseball together, and they beat Tarik Skubal. He kind of beat himself.
He did.
The Guardians did, I think, the best thing anybody could have ever done to a pitcher like Tarik Skubal. We'll get into that more in the second segment, but I just want to go through the math, which you and I have struggled with.
Can I interrupt you? Everyone got mad at me yesterday. I was going on 3 hours of sleep, and it was 10 o'clock, 9:30 at night my time. I'm sorry, everyone. Normally, I'm good at the math. I have it down today, but I will apologize about the math yesterday. 3 hours of sleep after a full day of teaching. I did not have
ask Jeff about the math. Don't ask me.
I've got it now.
If you're watching on YouTube, for the first time all season, Fangraphs playoff odds for the AL Central favor the Guardians 56.5% to 43.5%. It is the only time on their chart this year the Guardians have been favored. And what that means is all year, based on projections by their staff and their numbers they run and the schedule and all the probabilities that could happen, all favor Detroit. The Guardians coming into the month of September, I think we said this last week, the Guardians coming into the month of September had a 0.01 chance to win the division. So the Tigers basically had a 99.1% chance, or 99.9% chance to win the division when this month started. That's not zero. That is the epitome of the saying, so you're telling me there's a chance. That is the epitome of that saying. And the Guardians are Jeff Daniels. Or no, is that Jim Carrey?
I can't remember.
Comment below. You'll figure it out.
I don't know. But it's funny, too, because, like, the Tigers fans at that time were starting to – we know some fantastic, like Kian, maybe I'm probably saying his name wrong, is fantastic Tigers. I got family members who are Tigers fans. As a kid,
my next door neighbor is a Tigers fan, and I'm shouting on my microphone every night. Yeah, I'm sure they love it.
We would go to up to see family in Michigan. That was our trips. I didn't get to go to Disney World or California. We went to Michigan. That was our summer family trips. But saying that, like, there's fantastic fans, but I've never seen so many fans raid into our comments and be like attacking and negative. So I'm just kind of enjoying this on an extra level, because that overconfidence is the last thing a Tigers fan should be. And not because their team isn't good, not because they didn't have a huge lead, but because last year they were like a 0.02% chance to make the playoffs when September started, and they did it. So one thing a Tigers fan should have known is that unless it's 0%, don't count it out. And here's the thing, the Tigers could still pull this off. Like, we talked about not having, a letdown, and the Twins being a letdown. The ultimate letdown, as we've seen in multiple times in the past, is when you summit the mountain. Tomorrow's game is the one I worry about, because they've now summited. You let off some of that steam, and, like I can think back to like 2023, for instance, when they did get it back against the Twins and then fell apart. Or we talked about not to be negative.
04 and 05.
Yeah. So I do have that small concern. I think if they do, Jose will just like shred them all. So I don't think, like, that's the nice thing. You have that break relative to all things here. You have enough leadership with Jose and Hedges, and I'm not as concerned about that. But, I'm just a natural warrior. But, like, looking at what this team has done, no one's ever done it. Hopefully you've been watching, enjoying, because you're watching history. You're watching things that have never been done in the history of this game.
The great Sarah Langs, who always has a stat for everything. They're always great. The largest September deficits to overcome take the lead in the division since 1969. The Guardians now have the most. The 1964 Cardinals were behind 8.5 in the NL. I believe they were in the NL West back then. They were 8.5 behind. The 1964 Reds, ironically the same year, also 8.5, and they took a division lead. But nobody has come back as far as the Guardians. 15.5 back on July 8th, which, by the way, happens to also be both my parents' birthday. September 1st, 10.5 back. None of us believed coming into September the division was realistic. Even if they played well, we thought wild card. And even 2 weeks ago, 9.5 back. I mean, again, you said everybody being alive and born is a minor miracle. This is an incredible miracle. It makes absolutely no sense. Yeah, it's just
does what they're pitching. Like, that's the thing. Like, 18 straight starts. 18 straight starts where they've allowed 2 runs or less. That doesn't happen. Like, the hitting is still suspect, but the pitching, I know the bullpen's had its foibles, but, like, the bullpen's also been excellent. Second, or the best bullpen by FIP in the second half. Like,
and can I also point this out? I forgot what was the date that the cameras caught Tanner in the dugout having his rage moment. Was that the Tampa Bay start or the Mariners start? I think that was the Mariners start, right?
I think it was Mariners. I think it was not, because Tampa's when things really took off for the good.
Yeah. So since August 31st, that was August 31st is when he got caught in the dugout getting really upset. The Guardians, since that time, are 17-6. So Tanner had a bit of a come to Jesus moment, I think, for the team in the dugout. Even though everybody got mad at him, everyone was saying, "Oh, this guy is mad at them," and it's a bad look and all that. This team has woken up since the middle of August. They are on a historic run, and it can't be stopped. We'll talk about how it couldn't be stopped as they overcame the great Tarik Skubal with some painful sacrifices to get there on the rest of today's Locked On Guardians.
What do you get when you have a bald eagle sitting on top of a silverback gorilla riding a T-Rex like my friend right here, the Rally Dino? Confidence. Pure confidence. If you're looking for something beyond the usual pill, it's time to meet Rougette Go Long. That's exactly where Rougette Go Long comes in. This isn't just another ED pill. It's a total game changer for confidence. Go Long combines 2 doctor-trusted medications and 1 dual-action formula, so you can get hard and go the distance. The effects can last up to 36 hours. That's confidence all day, all night, and even into the next one. The process is simple and easy to do. Ready to level up your confidence in the bedroom? Head to rougette.com and use the promo code LOCKEDON for 15% off your order. That's rougette.com, promo code LOCKEDON, Locked On MLB, I should say. Make sure to use our code so they know we sent you.
Oh boy, there's going to be some fun baseball this week at Progressive Field. There's nothing like catching the game live, and you know you're going to want to catch the game live today, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, maybe even into October. But getting those tickets, that can be the tough part. It's going to be a hot ticket in Cleveland. Queues, login screens, surprise fees. Even the MLB app is a little bit tough these days. That's why you need Game Time. It's the app that gives the advantage back to fans like us. Game Time is fast, it's easy, and it's backed by the Game Time guarantee. So you're always going to get 100% authentic tickets. They're delivered on time and at the best price. The best thing about Game Time, I can tell you, that I've used before, is that all fees are included. On the Guardians and the Locked On Guardians Insiders chat we did the other night, we talked about how fees are crazy across the board, service fees. Well, there's no surprise with Game Time. When you put your tickets into the cart, you know exactly what you're going to be paying. There's no surprise fees at checkout, and you always get better deals closer to first pitch, closer to the event time, so you're going to get the best deal to go to the game you want to go to. I know you want to be there this week in Cleveland, so download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONMLB. You're going to get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply, and again, that's promo code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go! Download Game Time today. Hey, if you haven't downloaded or hit the auto download option on your audio streams, you're going to want to do that. So we are part of your daily routine. Shout out to everybody who does that already, but we'd like to be part of everybody's morning routine, talking Guardians and all things Guardians right now that's exciting to talk about. And hit the bell on YouTube. Jeff gave us a nice bonus video that you could have gotten to hit the bell on YouTube so you wouldn't miss it. Talk exclusively about the Rally Dino. I did the other short after the game, and then you get episodes like this. You get the MLB Squad Show, any other sort of breaking news or bonus content.
If we ever go live, it's also a great way to know, especially at the postseason potentially coming
I'm gonna tell you what. Right now, I have tickets to the game. I'm gonna be there tonight, Wednesday. I won't do it Wednesday, but because they can't clinch Wednesday. But there's a scenario where the Guardians could clinch Friday or Saturday. I will be at both those games. If the Guardians clinch while I am at the stadium those days, I will go live on YouTube on this account. So they're going to want to hit the bell for that. If I'm in the stadium when they clinch on Friday or Saturday, I will go live and I will celebrate with all of you because that's the whole point of this anyway. Anyway, real quick update before we jump into the game. I just want to say we're all hoping the best for David Fry. 100%. That was
scary.
God, I was watching from my TV at home, and it was loud. I was getting texts from people who were at the game. They're just saying this crowd is like an October crowd. It's so loud. I remember the crowd for the 17-game win or the 22-game winning streak in 2017 was crazy at the end too. And I have never heard the crowd go from that loud to dead. I mean, it was. I know we always the cliche is you can hear a pin drop, but I mean it's TV. Like I had someone text me say, it's my TV just went on mute or something. That's how quiet it got. That was terrifying. We hope he's okay. It sounds like David Fry's got multiple face fractures. So
yeah, there's no way around it. His nose is definitely busted. I mean, he's probably has cheek and sinus. He's probably done for the year. Like he might need some reconstructive surgery just due to what
I've seen people have to have surgery for the orbital bone and
yes.
Yeah, and I know
it's
he's
rough.
got, his wife and a daughter and another kid on the way. So just wishing all the best for David Fry. The nice thing the Guardians did for David Fry, though, is they didn't let him take one for the team. I don't know if that's a good way to put it, but that's the best way I can really say it, in vain, because Tarik Skubal was already on the ropes at that point anyway. That inning, I mean, if there was ever a time for peak guards ball, that was it, right? You had Stephen Kwan. The bunt was a great decision because that's the best way to get a pitcher out of their routine when they're rolling like that, is to try to make them feel the bunt. It worked out great. On-held, you had Tarik Skubal trying out for the Detroit Lions.
What do you mean? He was doing his best Browns quarterback impersonation. He was 100% a Browns quarterback there.
He pulled a Brandon Whedon is what he did.
I mean, he was he can't be any worse than Spurgeon Wynn, who I got to see in person once. It was not a fun day. It was very cold. But yeah, I mean, that is the turning point of the game. That is the point where...
Yeah, because Jose at the infield single.
He does, but after that mess up, he just did not look sharp. Like, he was missing high a lot more. He looked a bit rattled to me. And I was even texting you that he looked rattled. And
he did, yeah.
After he messed up, I think it was just that, like, why did I do that? I think Skubal was in his head, like, that was dumb. Why did I do that? Like, he's thinking about that constantly while he's pitching, and the game starts to get away from him. Jose has the great play. He's even more rattled. And then, the one thing you could say is, like, I rewound it not to see the hit. I looked away from that, but just to see Skubal's reaction. And, like,
he dropped his glove, he threw his hat off. Yeah.
Like, he was upset. And
yeah.
I gotta say, like, AJ, this loss isn't on anyone other than AJ Hinch. Like, AJ Hinch should not have left Skubal in this game. Like, he was upset. He was not in a good mental. Right, yeah, he was not in a good mental place. And, he has the wild pitch. He has the balk. I can't say the word apparently. But, like, all of that happens when he shouldn't be there. They should have used that time where Fry is hurt to have someone up. I mean, it was very easy to look at Skubal's face and be like, okay, we need, and especially if you're going to have him start on semi-short rest on Sunday and you're trying to, like, lower pitch count is fine. He did his job. And I know their bullpen's been terrible. And I understand to a degree the logic because their bullpen's been bad, but you can't leave a guy who's that shook out there. Like, to me, AJ Hinch blew this game. Like, you could not leave Skubal in. He was so visibly upset. He was already mad at himself for his mistake. Then he is upset about what happened with Fry. And then we just saw that. Like, we benefited from the fact that AJ Hinch, for some reason, left a guy in there who was mentally, like, rattled.
Yeah, he didn't have feel for the moment right there. And I mean, he also could have been distracted by the Fry thing, too. I think everyone's first concern was for Fry.
Oh, no, I mean, I think that was the part where you take him out. Like, he was very concerned for Fry.
No, I know, but instead of calling down to the bullpen and getting somebody warming up, you might have been thinking about, is David Fry going to be okay? Like, it's fair to ask. Like, I would be the same way. I don't, for another fellow human being, especially, not intentional or anything. Like, it's fair. I mean, and if you want to say it's AJ Hinch's fault, I totally agree. I'm just saying, his headspace could have been, I hope David Fry is okay too, and he might not have been able to pivot to call down to the bullpen. I mean, maybe he should have said somebody should have, but yeah, it's one of those things you just don't plan for, to react to, and it's hard, and that's what separates, I guess, the good managers from the great or the bad, which we'll talk about in the next segment with good managing. But that inning, though, is just absolutely chaotically hilarious outside of the Fry moment, because the ball didn't leave the infield at all. Yeah. Like, you had 3 infield singles, an RBI ground out, the wild pitch, the balk, just everything. And it's just ridiculous. And we haven't even I don't think we've even mentioned Gavin Williams' name, which is a crime because we're 19 minutes into this podcast. Gavin Williams matched Tarik Skubal pitch for pitch. I would say he outpitched him. He had more strikeouts. He had less walks. He gave up less runs, obviously, even though he gave up more earned runs. The one run I wouldn't even put on him is because Angel Martinez made a bad read in center field. That run probably doesn't score if Angel gets a good read and makes that play in center. So I know you get the home run to Riley Green, but the Guardians had more hard. It's ironic. The Guardians had more hard hits off Skubal than the Tigers did off Gavin Williams, but the most impactful hits that came off Skubal were the ones that weren't hit hard and didn't leave the infield, which again tells you exactly this is all divine intervention. It's all fate. That's all I can think of at this point. We'll talk about managers, Gavin Williams, all that fun stuff in the final segment of today's Locked On Guardians. Oh boy. Well, I told you to smash the under in this game, and I am so sorry I got it wrong. I said 6.5, but hey, that's why this has been a wild run, because I didn't think that you could do this to Tarik Skubal, and now you found it out. The NFL season is also crazy in here, so FanDuel wants to make sure you're ready for each kickoff with a can't miss offer. If you're a new customer, if you haven't signed up yet, if you go on and you create your account and bet just $5 and it wins, you're going to get $300 in bonus bets to use across the entire app. Again, I've said it before. We've seen 150. I've seen 200. I've seen 250. I've never seen them give $300 in bonus bets away for the first $5 bet winning. Tanner Biden and Jack Flaherty. It'll be an interesting one. I'm tempted to probably take the over in that one. I don't even know what the over-under is. I'm tempted to take the over just because of how the Tigers are reeling, and Tanner's pitched really good lately, though. So we shall see. But, word to the wise, be careful and play responsibly. If you're ready to play, download the FanDuel app today and visit FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. Yeah, I can't believe Jeff, we went that long without mentioning Gavin Williams, because he was outside of that the inning where he loaded the bases and had to pitch out of it, where it was the one or when the Tigers scored. What was it, the fifth inning? Because the sixth inning was the home run. So was it the third? It was the fifth. It was the
fourth
inning, I think. There was the third inning. Okay, third inning where his control kind of evaded him a little bit for a minute, and they had a couple of hits. But man, he was masterful.
Yeah. No, he got the strikeouts there too, right? Were the last two outs both strikeouts?
Yeah, both strikeouts. I mean, he absolutely took Kerry Carpenter to the woodshed in that game.
The whole game.
Those curveballs. I mean, he had a hit off of Hunter Gaddis later in the game, but I mean, he ate them up. That curveball was as good as it's been all year for Gavin Williams. That's exactly why you made the move you did, to have Gavin start this game, to make sure that he faced the Tigers twice and make sure that he is ready to go on Sunday on full rest for the final game of the season, should you need it. That curveball, the sweeper, I mean, he for a minute there, he had a hard time locating the four-seam fastball. The sinker was incredible. They were not able to touch the sinker. They took that for 8 called strikes out of the 14 he threw because they just didn't see it coming. And you combine that with the sweeper, that's why they kept chasing the sweeper, because the sinker and the sweeper diverge. They are great tunnel pitches, and when you can locate your sinker, they have to chase the sweeper, and that's exactly what they did. That was easily the best performance of Gavin Williams' career. It was the biggest start of his career.
Yeah, it was a fantastic game. I have a hard time saying it's the greatest performance just because we had the near no hitter this year. But in terms of the overall what was on the line, who he was facing and everything, it was fantastic. And easily one of the 3 stars of this game for me in this one. I ended up giving it to Schneemann and Kwan for the other 2. For people who are curious, you can also go check the doc that I keep on that. But when you're looking over the course of the game, yeah, there was the home run, there was the walks, he ran into some problems, but at the end of the day, he could have probably thrown another inning. Bullpen was fantastic.
Yeah, I was surprised by that. Yeah.
But I think that's, if you're gonna have him come back on Sunday or you're trying to set him up, I think it's just managing a pitch count. And Sabrowski was fantastic. Gaddis was the best he's looked in a while. And then Cade was overpowering. I will say the one thing all game, at the end there, was seeing the Tigers hitters get mad, seeing them kind of you could tell they're pressing. You could see them were those borderline pitches, yes, but all game that umpire was getting fooled by good framers. Dingler and Hedges are good at framing, and that umpire was missing every call around the corner. So at the same time, it's that's just how this game was called. And to see, especially to see Dingler getting mad, it's dude, you've gotten so many of those pitches as a catcher today that that's part of the game. It was just everything really came together. And we're not even talking about too that the whole situation comes back where Hedges gets a single. Hedges 6th best OPS for this team in September, I'll say. Hedges has actually been hitting in September, weirdly enough. Kwan, gets on base.
Well, his walk in the 7th inning was big because
did that
he gets the third on Kwan's double, and then Schneemann singles to get them both in. Without Hedges walk in the 7th or the 6th to 7th inning, they can't spread that game out the way they did.
Yeah, well, because Hedges is the one that scored then Kwan on that hit, and not only that, it's they went and got Finnegan, who is most of their trade deadline stuff hasn't worked. Finnegan's been really good, so it's not just that they beat up on Skubal. I don't know if it's beat. Well, here I'll say to the degree that anyone beats up on Skubal, they did, and like it's what you said, just like the third or fourth time all year he's given up 3 walks. It's a guy who doesn't make errors. He made multiple errors in this game.
He made an error, a wild pitch, and a balk all in one game.
Yeah, all in one inning.
Yeah, all in the same sequence. Yeah, that's just.
And then, they didn't do it just to him. They also did it to Finnegan, who's been arguably their best reliever over the last few weeks. So they got to Detroit on multiple levels and getting that, like the insurance runs, manufacturing more runs, getting stuff across. It wasn't just like one good inning. It wasn't just they got lucky with infield plays. They put together a strong game start to finish. And
this is now, I want to get into the Vogt talk a little bit here before we wrap it up. But going back to the Minnesota series, they beat Pablo Lopez. I know he got pulled early, but they won that game. They beat Joe Ryan. They beat Bailey Ober, who's historically kicked their butts. And they just beat Tarik Skubal, and they beat Tommy Kahnle, and they beat Kyle Finnegan. Tommy Kahnle, I know they got him last week, you said, but historically he has been a problem
this year.
No, but historically he's been a problem for Cleveland, and Kyle Finnegan has been their best reliever. They are actually going out and putting up enough runs against good pitching. Like, it's not just they're beating up on. Yes, those guys are struggling, like you said. The Detroit bullpen is struggling, but these are pitchers historically Cleveland struggles with. So this has been, I would say, even though they're not scoring a lot of runs, it's still facing legitimate guys that they've struggled with in the past. All that is to say, Jeff, the Manager of the Year award, I don't want to go as far as say it's stupid, but the criteria that we go by doesn't make any sense because nobody really knows, right? Like the person who wins Manager of the Year every year is always the team that nobody expected to be good, right? Last year it was Stephen Vogt. It was his first year. Nobody knew if the Guardians could win the division or not, and they were basically wire to wire. And then in the National League, with the Brewers, that was an easy call with Pat Murphy. This year, like AJ Hinch, I think was well on his way to claim that title. And you'd almost never see a manager get a Manager of the Year award in back-to-back seasons. Because
it might happen in both leagues.
It might happen in both leagues because you won the division a year ago, so the expectation is you're going to be a good team the next year. And that's thinking linearly. And clearly we've learned that things in life are not linear, especially in baseball. So if the Guardians come back and they finish this run off, it's not over yet, but if they finish this run off and they win the division, it can't go to AJ Hinch. Does it go to Vogt again? Do you adjust your expectations because of what happened during the season? Or does it go to Dan Wilson because the Mariners are about to clinch their first division title in over 24 years? That's going to be the hard part. Like, you almost never see someone win it in back-to-back years. So, like, Vogt has had to steer a very rocky ship all season long to get to this point. It's been, obviously a comeback of epic proportions. But you just never see it back-to-back years by one guy, and you got a team in the West that's going to win their first division in 2 decades. Like, that's going to be hard. But I think Vogt deserves it.
I don't think it's hard. I don't think it's hard at all because as interesting as that is, and as rare as it has been, it's not historic. The fact that this team has done something historic is going to make him the toast of the town. So as long as they make the postseason, especially if they win the division, because they've done something historic, it's great that Dan Wilson has taken a team that was the number 1 buyer at the deadline, and things like that will come and do it. It's like, this is a team that arguably sold at the deadline and made a historic comeback. So I think, again, how much I'm going to care if he wins or loses? Nothing. It's not an award that has anything to me. Yeah. But I do think because it's a historic situation that it'll go to Vogt. And if it doesn't go to Vogt because they don't make the postseason, then it does go to Wilson. And after that collapse, Hinch maybe he gets a third place vote from a few people here and there. But I think he's.
Yeah.
If that's even how the voting works. I don't even know how the voting works on this one.
Well, you've also got Toronto up there too. They might win their division for the first time in a long time too. So there is that. It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. I mean, you have to consider Vogt at the very least because no one's had to do what he's had to do this year. No one's ever done it. No one's ever dealt with these disciplinary actions for a gambling investigation. No one's ever been 15 and a half out to come back and win their division. It's never happened. So it's going to weigh heavily. It's going to be interesting to see. And win or lose, he's done a great job because there were times this year I remember people saying, well, this team has quit. Like the Tanner Bybee thing we talked about, him in the dugout getting mad about the team, about errors and other stuff. There's been a lot of points this season where this team could have packed it in. After they traded Shane Bieber, could have been like, oh, well, I guess that's it. we're going to trade Quan. We might trade Quan. All the rumors, we didn't trade him, but it's like, if we're considering trading Quan and instead of adding, they don't believe in us, right? Like, there's multiple times this year this team could have packed it in and gave up. A lot of fans did. I mean, I declared them dead 3 different times, okay? And they're here. So no one's ever had to deal with that today. And I would say Vogt has done a better job this year than he did a year ago, which is incredibly hard to believe. But like you've been saying, last year it was almost like,
Easy.
I don't want to say easy, yeah, but this year it's the fact that things have been harder, and the team might still go back to the playoffs as the division champs, which by the way would be the first back-to-back division title for this team since 17-18. So be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Very quick note before we get out of here. They do have Flaherty tomorrow. Flaherty in the against Cleveland has been excellent, an ERA of 2.21 in 9 starts of his career. He is in the month of September and October. He has the worst strikeout rate of the year and his highest walk rate, almost double his typical one. He does have a good FIP, though, because he's given up 0 home runs this month. So we will see if that can change. 0 home runs for Jack Flaherty so far. He does struggle significantly more against lefties than righties, about a run higher in terms of his FIP and double the walk rate virtually, while striking out like 20% less. So for a team that's more lefty heavy, there are some benefits. Hopefully we will see it pay off tomorrow.
But can he field a bunt? What's his X grit? What's his guard's ball level? All right, he's not there. Take everything out, and throw it out the window. Okay? Stats at this point mean nothing to me. I forgot the Moneyball part of this show, by the way. I was going to say the Guardians have a very Moneyball story this year because the movie ignored the great rotation that the Athletics had, and then they ignored Miguel Tejada.
Yes.
So if you take out this great pitching and Jose Ramirez, they're just like Moneyball.
If you ignore their top 5 to 6 best players.
Yeah, they only had Mulder, Hudson, Zito, Miguel Tejada. So if you take out Bybee, Williams, Ciccone, Messick, and Jose, it's just like Moneyball, right?
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah, 100%.
All right. We'll be back tomorrow. We got Guards Tigers game 2. We might talk Josh Hartle finally. We might talk Guardians assistant manager being hired away by another organization. We'll see. Potentially.
Yes. But thank you all for joining us. It's been a while since we had an iTunes review. If you want to go leave us one, we have had none in September. So someone consider doing that. Thank you all. I hope you appreciate our silly fun on what is just a mind-breaking day. There's no way around it. Thank you all. And go Guardians. Go. Win the division.